Hey, what's up, peeps? Welcome to another episode of Direct Edition. The channel is Fred Hall Direct Edition. And instead of doing a comic book haul, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you, some of my hardcovers. And being the fact that the background says New Avengers, then you already know what the hardcovers are going to be. It's going to be my hardcovers of the New Avengers run. So with that being said, let's get into our sponsor. And as always on Direct Edition, this episode is being brought to you by my fake Darth Maul from China. Okay, so now let's get into it. So I have a lot of New Avengers singles issues, but I really got my meat and potatoes of my New Avengers runs through my hardcovers. This will be one of the first kind of groups I actually followed so rapidly or so loyal that I had to get the hardcovers. So let me go ahead and flip the background and then we'll get into the hardcovers. Yes, here's a look at some of my single issues. I got a pretty healthy run of the New Avengers single issues. That first Wolverine one, they actually have each character like their own solo book, so it creates like a big poster. Of course, I had to pick up the Wolverine one. That one goes for a pretty good amount. I could say out of this run, probably the only one I don't have is before they did Venomized covers, they did a Venomized Wolverine cover. And I don't have that one, and I see it a lot of you guys' videos. So thumbs up to you guys. And you know how we do it on Direct Edition. Let's get into some comics. Or let me rephrase that. Let's get into some hardcovers. Okay, now here's my New Avengers, the first trade hardcover that I picked up after I was done collecting the single books. This is New Avengers: The Secret Invasion. It's a very cool book. I love the dust jacket that's on the book. Of course, every hardcover comes with the dust jacket, so very cool, man. This is around the time of the Secret Invasion. So let's go ahead and look at the back of the book. And here's a quick look at the back of the book. These are the heroes that's supposed to be replaced by the Skrulls. I think it's just a drawing. I don't think every hero on the back of this book was actually replaced by a Skrull. But yeah, man, pretty cool, man. I really like this. And in chronological order, this would be New Avengers number 8. Well, I really should say New Avengers Volume 8. And this is New Avengers Volume 10, I believe. If you allow my sexy hands to interrupt your video, let's see what it says on the side. See, all of them on the side has this. And as you can see right there, that says Volume 10. So it's New Avengers Volume 10. So I went from 8 to 10. And the reason why I did that is because I actually have Volume 9 in single comics. So let's get into this Volume 10. Volume 10 is when Bucky Cap kind of takes over for the group. I think in between this you had like the death of Captain America. You had the formation of the Dark Avengers. And so, they basically, I back then I was going to the comic shop religiously. I was going to a comic shop called Titans Comics. It was about 4 or 5 of them in Georgia. It's only like one left now. I still go to the one that they have. I just rediscovered it. And yeah, this is called Power. And so this is a cool look at the front. The artist is one of my favorite artists. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about him in the videos, but his name is Billy Tan. So Billy Tan, to me, his artwork is very, very sick, and I really like it. He did a lot of the Emperor Vulcan when Vulcan was creating havoc with the X-Men. He did a lot of the X-Men around that period. So here's a cool look at the front. Let's look at the back. And here's a look at the back of the book. It's the same artist, Billy Tan. You have Sentry, you have Luke Cage, and you have Ares. This book says that it collects New Avengers, Secret Invasion on through Dark Reign. And Dark Reign is no more than the Dark Avengers formation. So that's pretty cool. Love this run. And yeah. So not to get sidetracked, if you really wanted to follow the New Avengers, you'll have to like jump around from, certain volumes of certain hardcovers. This is one of my favorite hardcovers of like, man, when I tell you I love this hardcover. This is Dark Avengers, so this is the next step in the New Avengers kind of run. This is when Norman Osborn actually took over Shield, and he employed. Let's go through it together. You got Venom, who was Scorpion. You have Hawkeye, who was Bullseye. You have Wolverine, who is Daken, and you have Miss Marvel, who is Moonstone. The coolest thing out of this book was at the end when Norman Osborn was brought down because he tried to go up to Asgard and seize Asgard, was underneath his Iron Patriot armor, his face was painted green. And his face was painted green as in regards to, hey, you can't hold back the Green Goblin who's a part of his psyche. So this is a very good hardcover, man. If you're ever looking for a thick hardcover to get into and you just want to read for like about 2 weeks, I will recommend this book. So cool look at the front. Let's look at the back of it. And hey guys, look at this cover. Is this not a cool cover or not? Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man costume. So very cool, man. This book is very, very thick. Very thick. This is easily a 500 pager. And yeah, so let's get back into it. So after volume 10, and then you jump to Dark Avengers, you have volume 11, which is the search for the Sorcerer Supreme. Man, this, oh my God. This book is so sick because what happened is Doctor Strange is looking for the next Sorcerer Supreme, and he automatically thinks it's Wiccan. The red, is he the Red Hood? No. The Hood. Parker Robbins wants the Sorcerer Supreme mantle, and he goes after it. And this book is sick, and it ends up at the end. Brother Voodoo ends up being the next Sorcerer Supreme. I usually don't do this, but okay, the front cover is Billy Tan, one of my favorite, covers of all time. One of. I know I say that a lot in my videos, but let's just look at some of the artwork. Now that's Parker Robbins talking to Dormammu. Okay, so let's just look at some of the pages. That's Doctor Strange talking to Wiccan. Wiccan is looking crazy because he actually sees Parker Robbins before Doctor Strange does. And look at Parker Robbins. He's across the street. Look at this panel. One of my favorite panels. He's silent. Doctor Strange is like, okay. He comes at him. He's like, I want the Eye of Agamotto. So very cool, man. Since I already have my sexy hands in your video, I'm just going to live turn it. You see the dust jacket almost came off. You can see the volume 11. All right, I'm putting it down, turning it around. And you have Parker Robbins, who is the Hood, not the Red Hood, not to be confused with Jason Todd, but the Hood. And in back of him, you have the all-seeing eye, but it's really the Eye of Agamotto. So very cool, man. Search for Sorcerer Supreme. I really give this book, if I was to give it a Fred Hall direct edition thumbs up 1 through 10, I would give it a 9.5 thumbs up. Very good. Okay. And so for the next volume, you will have volume 12. Y'all have to excuse me. I just came from a rooftop party, you know what I'm saying, this weekend. And I'm going to actually show you a clip of that rooftop party. It was pretty cool, man. But anyway, this is, volume 10 was Power. And this is volume, 12. And this is called Power Loss. What happens in this volume is Parker Robbins, or the Hood, he actually takes away Luke Cage's steel hard skin and his like health or something. So he ends up being in the hospital. So pretty cool, man. So here's a look at the front. Here's a look at the back of it with Luke Cage in the hospital. You know, you see all your new Avengers standing over him. You see Bucky Cap. You see Mockingbird. You see Ronan, who is actually Hawkeye. Hawkeye actually tried to kill Norman Osborn, but was stopped. You see Jessica Jones. You see the Baby. You see Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, Spider-Woman, Wolverine. And the cool thing about, the whole New Avengers run is that was my introduction into Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl actually became Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's, what do you want to say, their babysitter. And that's when you find out, I know I said it in one of my videos before, but that's when you found out that Wolverine and Squirrel Girl actually has some history together and they actually slept together before. So the Wolverine and the Squirrel actually did the thing, which is weird. Okay. Okay, so after Volume 12, they rebooted the series. And this is the New Avengers Volume 1. I'm not sure which book it collects. When we look at the back of the book, we'll look at it together, see what it collects. But this is your New Avengers team. Basically, in the beginning of this book, Captain America is like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I want you to be the new captain of the New Avengers. He was telling, Luke Cage that, because I think Fear Itself happened, and in Fear Itself, Bucky Cap was killed. So this is a new beginning, new team, and the Thing actually joins this team, which is pretty cool, especially seeing Thing and Spider-Man interact with each other. So this is Volume 1, and like I said, at the beginning of the book, Captain America was like, hey, I want you to take over the Avengers, and Luke Cage is like, nah, I just want to kind of chill. And Tony Stark is like, hey, man, here's the Avengers mansion. All you got to do is give me $1 for it. And Luke Cage is like, what? He's like, I don't have $1. And Iron Fist actually lets him borrow $1, which in turn Luke Cage gives to Iron Man, and Iron Man gives him the keys to the Avengers mansion. And then Iron Fist ends up telling Luke Cage, his best friend, like, hey, you know what I'm saying, I own the Avengers mansion because I helped you, I actually let you borrow that $1 from me. So pretty cool, pretty funny, man, the way they started off. And here's a look at the back of the book. This collects New Avengers 1 through 6. Like I said, Brother Voodoo is a new Sorcerer Supreme. Miss Marvel actually joined the team. She calmed down from what was she? I think she was following like Iron Man at that point, and all the New Avengers were fugitives for some reason. I forget, why were they fugitives? Yeah, the New Avengers were fugitives because of the Dark Avengers. That's when Norman Osborn was actually, had them on the run and on the ropes, and they had to, hide out because Norman Osborn was going to arrest them and he was going to torture them and try to kill them. So, pretty cool, man. So, this is New Avengers Volume 2. And in this book, Nick Fury actually created his own New Avengers team, but this was way back in like 1960 or 1970s. And they tell the story of not Norman Osborn, I'm sorry, Nick Fury's New Avengers, his team that he created way back in the past. They tell a backstory. It's pretty cool. It was all right, you know what I'm saying? But they tell the story about how, Nick Fury back in the days had his own like little Black Ops team. But in the meantime, the New Avengers, they're dealing with the fact that Hammer, or Norman Osborn's group, is actually regrouping, and they're starting to form into intermingle with Hydra. So the New Avengers are getting prepared to, do battle with Hammer and, put an end to all this other crazy stuff that's going on. So very cool look at the front, man. I really like the front artwork. It looks familiar. Let's see who it is. Okay, the front artwork is Mike Diodato, and I kind of remember that from, however you pronounce it. But I know his artwork because I've seen it in a lot of my comic books. So cool look at the front. Let's look at the back. So back in 1959, Nick Fury had his own Black Ops New Avengers group, and that's a look at him. That's a look at him. Of course, you see Kraven the Hunter, you see Sabretooth. Is that Dum Dum Duggan in the back? And the other ones I really don't know. I'll have to reread it to actually tell you who the names are. So pretty cool. I liked the backstory a little bit, but it wasn't, exciting. I felt like it was a little bit of filler for this hardcover, but I still love this hardcover. Okay. And last but not least, out of the New Avengers hardcovers that I picked up, this is New Avengers Volume 3. This is probably my favorite New Avengers book because it brought everything back full circle. Now, what happens in this book is you have Norman Osborn break out of prison after he tried to seize Asgard and was caught, and they found out that he was reverting back to the Green Goblin. You had him break out, and he reformed the new Dark Avengers. And I know some of the group members, but I don't know all of them. I do know that Wolverine in the background fighting Daredevil is Gorgon. Yeah, Daredevil actually joined the group. That Hawkeye that you see shooting at Spider-Man, that is actually Clint Barton's brother, the original Hawkeye's brother. The Hulk in the middle is actually Scar, the son of Hulk. And Jessica Jones is going at it with the new Miss Marvel, who I forget who that is. But the cool thing about this is Scar actually joins the Dark Avengers. And Norman Osborn doesn't know, but Nick Fury actually asked Scar to join just so when he gives him the code that Scar can turn the tides and beat the crap out of his new group, which is the Dark Avengers. So pretty cool, man. Norman Osborn broke out, reformed the Dark Avengers. Scar joined the Dark Avengers, and Nick Fury gave him a code, and Scar turned on the new Dark Avengers. So very cool, man. Yes, I got Junior home with me today, and like I said, it's been a pretty rough weekend. Went to the rooftop party, and I'm saying it for a second time in the video. I'm going to show you, some footage of that. But here's a look at the inside of it. Here's the new Avengers. You have a new Wolverine who is Gorgon. You have a new Scarlet Witch. I forget who she is. I forget who all of them are, really, to tell you the truth, because I haven't read this arc in a long time. But I wanted you to notice that throughout the Dark Avengers, they would always draw Norman Osborn to the likeness of Tommy Lee Jones, which I thought was very cool. But yeah, that's your new Dark Avengers. And the new Dark Avengers, like I said, Scar was an implant agent from Nick Fury. And at the end, when they were kind of giving it to the new Avengers, Scar flipped and came on the side of the Angels, which I thought was very cool, man. Look, my God, look at Miss Marvel. Woo! Anyway, so yeah, let's look at the back of the book. So here's a look at the back of the book. Norman Osborn saying, hey, I want you to be a part of my new Dark Avengers. And he's a wanted man. He just broke out of prison. Very cool, man. Very cool. So, yeah. So let's take a look at the trade paperbacks once again. Very cool, man. I'm so happy that I picked all these up, and at the time when I was collecting them, I picked them all up for, let's just say, shipping cost more than these books, because they actually had, I guess a pretty big run of them. So I got most of these books for like $2 plus shipping off of Amazon, which is about $3.99. So I paid about $6 for all these books. So very cool, man. And here's a cool look at the back of them again. Very cool, man. Very cool. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Direct Edition. The channel is Fred Hall Direct Edition. I promise to, shake things up and keep them fresh. Instead of going through single issues, we went through my hardcover trades. And I think they're pretty cool, man, because I love books, period. I love comics, period, man. Whether they be in single form or whether they be in hardcover. I just love freaking comics. And stick around because in the next week or two, I have a new Transformer figure coming in. His name is Sky Shadow. So I have my Sky Shadow coming in. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to do a review on that. You guys be safe out there. Keep liking, subscribing, and commenting. And remember, focus on the ones that show you love. Don't focus on the ones that don't show you love. And I will catch you guys later. Bye bye now. Peace.